Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Olympic Ultras podcast. I'm Nate.
I'm Michael.
And thank you for tuning in this week. In this episode, we'll be looking back on the Southwest Queensland Thunder game in the women's, as well as the Gold Coast Knights and Peninsula Power game in the men's, before we look forward to the Grange Thistle match and the Wynnum Wolves match. Just remember, you can follow along our journey on Instagram and YouTube, which is OlympicFC_Ultras, as well as our Spotify, which is Olympic Ultras Podcast. Make sure that you're following, liking, subscribing, doing all the fun stuff to make sure you don't miss an episode.
Get on board. It's good fun.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's kick off.
Let's do it.
All right, first half. Southwest Queensland Thunder 1, Olympic 5. Another hat-trick from Sarah Daly.
She's amazing, isn't she?
She's incredible. And it still blows my mind that she's not top goal scorer in any of the other charts, because she scores so many goals across all the competitions she's currently playing in, as well as Jess Curran, who, since she
played really well.
She had a bit of a shaky start with the gap again, as we discussed. Maybe she wasn't quite involved in our instinctual play, and now she's scored, I think, a goal again.
She's been there for years.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And of course, one from Muir, who decided that assisting everyone else was enough.
Yeah.
She wanted a goal for herself.
Yeah, a bit selfish, but
that's Georgia.
Yeah.
Got the job done. Again, it was one of those sort of weirder matches because it was a bit cold, a bit windy. In the middle of the day, it wasn't a game that we would necessarily be used to playing.
It looked as if it was just a training run.
Yeah.
They really didn't put the accelerator down. They just played the game, did what they had to do.
Yeah, Sarah scored the first, and it wasn't even really much of a celebration.
No,
it was straight to the team members, high fives. All right, let's go back. Yeah,
1-0. But yeah, it was it was a funny game.
Yeah.
But again, as you said, job done.
Yeah, exactly right.
I think they needed that. Especially with Capella, bringing down the necks. It's good to get that big goal difference as well.
Yep.
Which could be important.
Oh, definitely towards the end of the season. Complete control by halftime, 3-0 up. I think, obviously, I had to watch this video via YouTube. I wasn't able to attend.
No, same. I was coming home from Mount Tambourine and going car shopping. So.
Yeah, well, there you go. But the goal that we conceded seemed like a little bit of a weird slice in time, especially via the video. Yeah. It's almost like Southwest Queensland just had a shot.
Yeah.
And Ernie Sunderland was, there's the ball.
Yeah.
And it sort of just went past her.
Crap.
It was just this really, really weird moment in time. I'm sure it wasn't like that in real life, and the cameras just caught it a little bit weird.
Slow motion.
Yeah, it did sort of feel like that. But
they celebrated quite heavily.
Good on them.
Good luck to them. Yeah,
brilliant. Exactly. And we then regained control with 2 more goals.
Yeah.
So
it was easy after that.
Yeah, exactly. And a debut for Sophia Karaluka, another one in the long line of Karalukas at Olympic. If you've ever been involved with Olympic, you've definitely come across the Karaluka. We even had Tiani, Tiani, I apologize if I've mispronounced that, who was in the Olympic squad last year, who's since moved on to Brisbane City in the NPL. Hopefully, if we regain promotion, we might be able to coax her back.
Coax her back, yeah. Why not?
But yeah, so congratulations to Sophia, another, like I said, in the long line of Karalukas who have been involved in Olympics for a very long time.
It's a good time to bring her on too. I mean, the game's one and done.
Yeah, exactly right.
The team's settled. Give her a few minutes under her belt, get the feel of what the squad's about, get the feel of the runner. But yeah, I think it was good.
And we've said before, Cam's pretty good at making sure the younger players come through. But we've also said before that team is so incredibly deep. It's so hard to break through, even if you are an under-23s player and you're just trying to get a couple of senior minutes under your belt. It's like, who do you take off at any given moment? So
Vic was out again.
Yep.
So Vic's still off with that hamstring injury.
Yeah, which is
hopefully next week or the week after. And Charlie's still off. But I believe she's coming back. Yeah,
she's getting minutes under her belt. So
that's good.
Cool. So looking forward to Grange Thistle, which is this Saturday. 7 p.m. kickoff at Wynnum Park, so an away game. Last time out, we needed a Rio goal from a corner from a free kick.
From a free kick on the right-hand side, the attacking side. Yeah.
tricky game. That was a very, very tricky game. I think Grange caught us off a little bit on the back foot.
That was early season too.
It was early season. And I think they were pretty low down the ladder.
They were. I think they'd only played 1 or 2 games.
Yeah.
By the time they played us, where we played like 3 or 4.
Yeah. So they,
even though we had that more game time, I still think our team was still settling.
Yeah.
And
Grange
has
really
been around as a squad for a while. And just caught us off the hop,
Yeah, definitely caught us on the back foot and caught us. But Grange have since put on a fairly decent run, and they're now sitting in that race for 4th place, as I'll discuss a little bit later on as I've got down.
Oh yeah, I saw Grange play Capalaba not so long ago.
Yeah, I think I watched the same game. They really pushed Capalaba.
They really pushed Capalaba. It was only a freaky corner goal from Capalaba that gave them the points, but I thought Grange played pretty well. Yeah,
I thought they did too, actually, in that game.
Yeah.
So from their form, the last 5, they've got 2 wins and 3 losses. So it does look pretty bad on paper, but a 2-1 win over Penn Power, a 3-0 loss against Penn Power.
They love catch-up games?
Yeah, catch-up games for all the rained-out schedules, playing a little bit more trickery there. The 1-0 loss to Capalaba, where I thought they actually played really well on paper. A 4-1 loss to Logan Lightning, but we've recently discovered Logan Lightning has signed a couple of new players and have shot themselves up the ladder.
Yeah, well, rumour has it they signed a young German striker.
Yeah.
Who apparently is very, very good.
And they just went from that game to then beating Capalaba 4-1 as well.
Yeah.
Which puts us back on top by points.
I was watching the girls play, and I was watching the boys play the other night, and I was watching the game at the same time.
Yep.
I went, is that scoreline right? I mean, Logan's up 2-0.
Yeah. I think they were 4-0 up at one stage, and then it went to 4-1.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
And then Grange Thistle thrashed North Brisbane 5-0. Unfortunately, North Brisbane, I believe, is still sitting anchored at the bottom of that. Probably relegated unless they really turn it around.
I think there's only 7 or 8 games to go, so unless they do something miraculous.
Exactly.
I really can't see them pulling out of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, so out of their 10 games, Grange have played 4 wins, 1 draw, 5 losses, 12 goals for, 16 goals against with their 13 points. So, they're still performing quite admirably.
Team still to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And as I mentioned before, the table is shaping up to be a really, really interesting couple of races. So you got a top 3 race, which is obviously us, Capalaba and Caboolture, a few points behind that. And then that's essentially the winner of that will finish Premier, as well as will have the advantage in the semi-final.
Correct.
They'll get to face the 4th place team and everything like that. So that's why that is such a hotly contested one.
Yeah, it's a good spot to be in.
Yep. The race for 4th has 5 teams separated by a total of 4 points.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
It's crazy.
That's probably the one to watch, really.
It really is that race to 4th, and that includes obviously Logan, Grange, Moreton City, and a couple of others in that moment. And then you got Southwest Queensland Thunder, who have now slipped into 9th and are only 2 points off escaping the relegation zone. So even then, like the team that's sitting in 8th, they're only 2 points away from relegation. So Southwest Queensland Thunder could still definitely get out of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yes, unfortunately, North Brisbane is very much anchored, and they are a few points off.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that someone must go down.
Someone has to finish last, but I strongly suggest that, especially if you're an Olympic fan, obviously keep an eye on the Olympic results and the Capalaba results, because you want to, see us and try to make sure that we stay on that 1st place. But keep just the corner of your eye on that top 4, on that 4th place, that little race. It's going to be a little bit fun. Cool, fantastic. So let's move on to the second half, shall we? So kicking off in our second half is the men's game, Olympic 2, Gold Coast Knights 0. A bit of a shock result, really.
What a game. I was fortunate enough to go and watch that game.
Yeah, you were. I was still at the wedding that I was attending.
That is probably the best they've played for a long time. The Knights didn't have a sniff. They didn't know what hit them.
Yeah.
Geez, they played well.
And 2 good goals from Chris Lucas gives us 1 much-needed 3 points, but also the goals that Chris Lucas scored were almost exactly why we signed him.
Yes.
We loved putting in those low crosses that, Leith puts in, Lech puts in.
Scrapper's goal.
Yeah, exactly. And we've had a couple of players who have scored those goals, and we keep mentioning, this game we could have used Lyndon Farr and things like that. Lyndon Farr's a fantastic example of those, those low crosses, quick approaches, effort. So Chris Lucas coming in, scoring those 2 goals, really putting Gold Coast Knights on the back foot.
I was really happy for him too.
I was really happy for him as well.
The previous couple of games, he's just tried his guts out.
Hasn't quite got there yet.
It was just a few inches off each time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he deserved those 2.
He definitely did. And I think this is, it really showed what we've been working towards. We talked about it in the last episode, how, the signs were there, but they just needed putting together. And I think this is one of those games where it really did show. It really did all come across.
It was just amazing to watch.
And that second half, because I was watching on my phone during the celebrations of the wedding that I was at. As you do. And, 2-0 up going into the second half. Your mind casts back to so many games, unfortunately.
But let's not go there.
And there was that first 15 minutes that we needed to control, and we did.
We did.
And we controlled it so well.
And we didn't control 15, we controlled the 45.
We controlled the whole 45.
Yeah. And they got so desperate. I mean, some of their crosses were going out. The keeper kicked the ball out in the full. Passes from the Knights were just going across field and going out for a throw-in.
Yeah.
I mean, they just lost all composure. That's how much we rattled them.
Yeah. It was a really, really fantastic game. And again, it was one of those where it all just sort of come together.
Yeah, it was just, It was like that final piece of the jigsaw went click and it just went magical. Yeah, it was great. Great to watch.
And we've got a new name on the team sheet. I'm not sure if you've recognise that. Riley Gill.
Yes.
Number 33.
Yes, he came on the other night and I was really impressed.
Yeah, he came on in the Penn Power game, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Because when he came on, I thought to myself, all right, who's this geezer?
Yeah.
I'm going, I don't recognise you at all. Because I think it's the first time I've seen him.
I did a little bit of homework. So he has been in the Brisbane Royal Youth Squad.
Okay.
Last couple of years. I imagine one of those would have been with Chris Crosby because he had been there for the last 3 or so years. He actually spent year 10 studying from abroad.
Oh.
Because he was playing in Spain for the Merida AD Youth Squad.
Oh, as you do at year 10?
As you do in year 10.
Yeah.
So
most of us girls drive cars and get pissed, but he studies abroad. Fair enough.
So yeah, he was studying. I think at John Paul's College here in Brisbane, while he was playing in Spain.
Good on him.
For when he was 15. So he clearly has a little bit about him. He's obviously come back home. He was with the Brisbane Royal Youth Squad. We've managed to pick him up from there. So he's clearly got a bit about him. I think he's about 20.
Yeah, he looks young.
So he's still really, really young.
Yep.
Obviously, Chris Grossman sees a lot in him.
Yep. I wouldn't be in the squad otherwise.
Exactly right.
But I was impressed with him.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited.
I was very impressed.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited to see what he can do in red and white.
So. Yeah, and give him a few weeks down the track, he might be starting.
Yeah, exactly right.
So that's great for him.
And then moving on to Wednesday night's result, Penn Power 1, Olympic 0. This is a very interesting match. By the way, just before we go too far into this, we totally forgot to preview this match. So we do apologize for that. We had information that this match had been moved. Then we got confirmation this match had not been moved. And then we tried to calculate which match which podcast episode we'd need to do the review, the preview in. And we got our calculations wrong.
Yeah. That'd be too hard on us.
So just pretend that we did do our preview of this, and here's our review of this game. Our first half was incredible.
Yeah, it was a good half.
I'm going to say that right off the bat.
What I saw of it, I saw 9 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, because
thanks to FQ TV, decided to take a holiday.
Yep.
For about 35 minutes, and nobody knew what was going on.
Yep. Absolutely fantastic.
So I think we don't score in that time. I'll be very upset.
Unfortunately, we did not.
We did.
I'd love to see the stats, the season stats. I don't think Football Queensland collects this, but I'd love to see the stats of how many times we've been offside.
Well, tonight we had 7 offsides, and Power had none. 7. And I think I said to you via text, that's like 1 every 7 minutes or 8 minutes of a game.
Especially that first half, I think there was 6 or something.
It's like one every attack.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, oh.
Well, it almost was in that first half.
Yeah,
it was so frustrating.
But I mean, in saying that too, the boys are quick. Those boys up front are fast.
They are quick.
And if you don't judge it 100%,
just right,
you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
And that's not poor play. That's not bad indecisions. They're just that quick.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you've also got to remember that, I'm not trying to be rude, I'm not trying to be harsh or anything like that, but the level of referees that we have at this level aren't always going to keep up with that play. Sometimes they're not mic'd up, things like that. I'm not saying that every offside is because of a referee. I'm sure we are offside more often than not. And referees get things wrong. That's fine. They're human.
Speaking of referees, I thought tonight he was a dick.
Yes, he was not a good referee tonight, I think.
I saw one incident where Pen Power had the ball.
Mm-hmm.
One of our lads challenged. He stumbled and continued on with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And the ref pulled it up for a free kick.
Yep. Completely taking away the offensive advantage.
Hang on. He's got the advantage. He has the ball at his feet. He remained upright.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the referees tonight, in my opinion, weren't fantastic for both teams. I think they just never controlled the game properly. They never got control of it. Yeah.
Oh, it was very poor. Sorry, but I thought it was poor.
No, I fully agree.
Yeah.
Being there, I fully agree.
Sorry, if I go back to the officials for the Gold Coast game, brilliant.
Mm.
It was like 2 different standards.
Yeah.
They were just brilliant.
Yeah. But yeah, this was back to Olympics perspective and performance. I think for the first 60 minutes, we really had control of that match. Sure. And there was a couple of times, especially in the second half, where we essentially had the ball on the line.
Yep.
I think Lathan Dunn put himself in the goal instead one time, and the other one, I think a defender almost knocked it in, but the keepers picked it up.
Yep.
And it was just that moment. I think I remember texting you at about the 70th minute, because you obviously didn't come to this match. About the 70th minute, we needed to score about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you could just see the control slipping. We just stopped having that control of the game. And then I think they scored in about the 75th minute.
Yeah. And I go back and wonder, think, well, the game they played against Gold Coast, they poured their hearts out.
Mm.
Whether they were tired, I mean, it was only 3 days ago.
It could definitely be tiredness. It could definitely be the fact we're still waiting for Hero.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for Lynn. He's been out for a while. Chris Lucas obviously didn't play this match. This brings me up to another point that I really did want to raise. Speaking of, it was only 3 days ago. Do you remember back in May, Football Queensland putting out a statement that they are prepared to push out the season end date if they needed to?
Yes,
and they have since done absolutely nothing about that.
Squat about it, and
we have about
game after game after game.
Our boys have about 7 games this month. And
no wonder teams are getting injured. No wonder teams are tired. No wonder teams. You look at some of the performances and you go, "What the hell?"
A Pen Power player pulled up absolutely no touch on him.
Yeah,
he came off in I think the 20th or 30th minute.
Too many games in too little time.
Yep.
It's just really poor management for Football Queensland.
100%. They sat there and went, "Look,
professional players."
No, semi-pro and further down are completely amateur. None of them are getting paid.
So they've got boys and girls a break.
They've got full-time jobs, trades and things like that. If you get injured on the pitch and you're a tradie, you can't work. You can't work. You're out of a livelihood for a while. So.
But they had every intention of pushing it back to, I think, September.
Well, they said they had every intention of pushing it back, and they never touched it. It's
typical Football Queensland. They talk about it and they go, "Oh no, we'll leave it."
Yeah, no, it's too hard to reorganise that. And the rumour has it they don't even have the semi-finals or the finals booked for Suncorp Stadium, so it's not even like they have a date to meet.
That should have been booked 12 months ago.
It should have been. The rumour has it they're not doing it this year.
Because when you think about it, they've got a good idea what's the date of each round.
Yeah.
They've got an idea when the when the Australia Cup matches are played.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, guys?
Yeah. So it's not even like they had a booking to meet.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Yeah. And even then, cancel the booking. Players' livelihoods are more important.
Yeah.
Players' health is more important.
It certainly is.
So it very much could just be they were run ragged. And if you look at Pen Power's previous results, I feel like even they were run ragged too, because
they were looking tired.
They were looking tired as well. Yeah. I think it's hard to judge Gold Coast United at the moment, but I believe they just thrashed Gold Coast United like 7-0 on the weekend.
Work that out.
So, both teams it was a very clearly a tied performance, and we tried to go out in front very early on.
Yeah, I thought the boys played well.
And I thought they played well. Again,
too.
on paper, this was a game that we probably should have lost.
Yeah.
But watching the footage, the context of everything, I thought the players did really, really well.
I did too.
I was very, very frustrated at full time, mainly because we did concede that goal and we were in such a good position. But you can chalk it up with a possible 3 points loss. But at the same time, Penn Power is a very good team. They've had our measure for a couple of years in a row now.
They've always played well against us.
So
I don't know. We've talked about this before. I think nobody likes Olympic. They all rise just to give us a beating.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's almost like we're the beating boys of the comp.
Everyone wants to beat Olympic.
Everyone wants to beat Olympic.
Yeah. Look, it definitely could be true. I think we've pissed off more than our own fair share of people.
Hates us.
Oh, 100%. I don't get me wrong. I'm sure every club thinks that, but I'm almost certain there's people in Football Queensland who hate Olympic. But yeah, so a frustrating match, but at the same time, I think it showed really, really good promise, and I think it was more just a tired performance.
Yeah, it was. It is a big call. Now the players got to, they're
going to get the ball back home, and and then they got to travel back out.
So they've got Thursday, Friday, the game on Sunday.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Yeah, and it just gets worse from there because you've got the Queensland Cup semi-final for the men, you got the Capra Pro Series final for the women.
Yep.
Then you got the Queensland Cup semi-final as well for the women. Funnily enough, the Australia Cup, like the big games just keep coming, and it's something needs to give, and Football Queensland doesn't seem to be wanting to.
No, and
to try it.
And whilst we've had extraordinary rain this year, which is not usual, we normally get rain, but it's rained right through to May, June, which is unusual.
It did rain for a long period.
So it is hard to reschedule and make games go ahead, but I really believe if Football Queensland, in association with NPL clubs and in association with Football Australia, push for artificial pitches,
in long term,
for NPL clubs, I think the league would just in a boom.
Yeah, 100%.
Because games can be played. There's no issue with it.
Yeah,
Sydney and Melbourne have artificial pitches.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah,
the ball runs well. It bounces well. My old team in Sydney, Sutherland Shire, have an artificial pitch, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But I believe that's the way going forward in this state.
Long term, we've got to have artificial pitches
because we're going to
have rain every single time.
Yeah, we have more rain than any other state because it's a tropical area. We can't keep doing this every year.
Yeah. It was a freak year. Don't get me wrong. Oh well, at least I hope it was a freak year. If we keep getting rains like this, that's a bit more of a couple of other worrying signs.
It is.
But again, it rains every January to April.
Yeah.
Fairly heavily.
And we all know that.
And we all know that. Everyone's aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think even short term, Football Queensland could have turned around and just pushed out the end date by 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I reckon 2 weeks would have done it.
Let's face it, none of those clubs in the NPL share their ground with anybody else.
No.
So there's no one else to butt out or push in or say, hey guys, sorry, we need the ground this weekend.
Yeah.
I reckon 2 weeks would have done it. Who you go to every ground, and the guys who do the grounds,
some of them are incredible.
Maintain the lawns and maintain the pitches. They do a great job.
They do a fantastic job for amateur and semi-pro clubs.
Yeah, and another 2 weeks, not an issue. Really?
Anyway, we'll move away from that rant.
Sorry about that. You had to put up with that.
Just releasing this episode at 6 o'clock in the morning and throwing that rant in your face.
Yeah.
Let us know if you agree. So we'll go on to our game to preview, which is against Wynnum Wolves at Carmichael Park, Tingalpa, at 6:15 p.m. this Saturday as well. So unfortunately, both men and women's are kicking off at a very similar time. Last time out, Wynnum Wolves proved once again that they are never out of a match while there's minutes on the clock.
Nope.
After being up 1-0 in the half-time, we conceded 2 and lost 2-1 with shades of last year ringing very true. Yeah, which is where we've got to go back to this time. However, Wynnum seems to be making a bit of a name for themselves doing this because they just did this to Brisbane City too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you clocked that one.
Yeah, saw that one. My goodness.
I'll go through the form, but there's a pattern that emerges here, and I want to see if you can guess it. I want to see how far into this you'll guess the pattern. So their last 5 games, 2 losses, 3 wins. Gold Coast Knights 4-2, Wynnum Wolves. Wynnum Wolves 1-4, Queensland Lions. St George Willawong 1-4, Wynnum Wolves. Peninsula Power 1-4, Wynnum Wolves.
Geez, 4's a popular number.
Brisbane City 3-4, Wynnum Wolves. They have 4 goals at least has been scored by a singular team in their last 5 games.
And on Sesame Street today, the number 4 is brought to you by 0. Yeah.
So suffice to say that they have 1-5, 7 losses, 4 draws, 32 goals scored.
It's crazy, isn't it?
34 goals against, a -2.
That's ridiculous.
A -2 for a team sitting about mid-table. Because, again, there's a good chance one of these teams is going to score 4 goals.
Yep. And not against us this weekend.
And hopefully not against us this weekend. But yeah, just absolutely ridiculous. Goals galore whenever Wynnum Wolves seems to play.
It's crazy, isn't it?
They are currently sitting 1 point behind us, but they've played a couple more games than we have as well. I think 1 more now, because we played obviously tonight. Probably underperforming what you'd expect from Wynnum Wolves, at least what you look at from last season.
Yeah, last season they hit the ground running.
They just absolutely
they shocked everybody.
Yeah, they did a bit.
But as the dust settled, another team.
And they boast a couple of decent players. Like Luke Francis did eventually move down to Preston Lions in Melbourne. Obviously, they're not missing their number 9 because they're still putting goals away.
Yeah.
But you look at it, they got Jez Lofthouse, they got Rio Emoto, Zach Maltby, Jack Hingert, Naoki Maeda as well. Yeah. Like, they've got some really talented names.
Yeah.
So they're a good squad. Yeah. I haven't been checking like their form as hard, but maybe they're in a very similar boat to us, where we've got some very, very good players. It's just not quite getting there.
Yeah. It's just finding that combination.
But I think this is going to be another one of those games where it's just we've got to make sure that we lock it up. Yep. We've got to make sure that we've got to be composed and play for the whole 90 minutes.
Yep.
Because if there's minutes on the clock, Wynnum Wolves are going to be a danger.
Yep. Well, I think I saw a picture on Instagram where Hero was training, which is a good sign.
Hero, yes. I did see that as well.
That's a good sign that he's on the training park again.
Yep, Hero's coming back soon.
I don't know what was wrong with Chris. I don't know why Chris played and didn't play.
No, I mean, he just speculating. He could have been tired again from that. But
so hopefully, if Chris plays and Hero plays and Flumi's back, and it'll work well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And like I said, like we've said a couple of times now, unfortunately, we're running out of games to say this for. But the pieces are there.
Oh God, yeah.
The movements are there. Yeah. It's just that final third seems to be just elusive to us at the moment.
That finishing.
Yeah. And tonight was a real frustration point because we definitely did. While we were missing some big players, we definitely did have enough in us to score and to see out this game.
Watching the game, I thought we had 2 go in, but just cleared off the line.
Yeah.
And I won't say what I said, but frustrating.
Yeah, extremely. And actually, before we go further than this, Football Queensland has finally released the Capra Pro Series finals venue location, and that is Brisbane City Stadium, Imperial Corp stadiums, which we will see quite a lot towards the end of the season. I think that now makes 4 games
that we have to go to.
At Imperial Corp Stadium. 1 women's, 3 men, and the 3 men are all against Brisbane City. So this will be a nice change.
Yeah.
So it'll essentially become a second home to us the second half of the season.
Yeah.
I believe tickets are about $13 roughly. Odd number, I know. Take it on Football Queensland.
And that's through the Football Queensland website?
That is through the Football Queensland website that you can find that.
Get your tickets for the girls. It's going to be a great game.
Yes, the girls definitely deserve.
Yeah, they deserve a support base.
They deserve support. They deserve people coming along. It's the first final this season of hopefully a couple. Especially with the Queensland Cup, they've got a big fixture coming up against the Eastern Suburbs. So make sure that you do get down and you do support the girls. They've had an absolutely fantastic season, and one of the first finals we're going to come up against, and we're coming up against Caboolture. So
it's great.
It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, it sure is.
So definitely make sure you're available for that. Go get your tickets, and we'll see you there.
Definitely see you there.
Yeah, fantastic. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Take care.